So my first question to the people was that why have we not built roads? So they said this was 2010 and 47 and 2010 was a long time.
अब तो roads बहुत है.
अब तो हाँ, but I'm telling you, so they said कि साहब वो आर्मी नहीं बनाने देती.
उसकी जब ये चाइना का इन्फिल्ट्रेशन आया, so वहाँ के लोकल लोग सारे some were taxi drivers, some whatever jobs they had, they left everything and they joined the army in pushing them back. I don't know how true that is.
No, it'll be true. I'll tell you why. Similarly in Arunachal also, left that place and they were staying in Taj.
And they went back
and
to
they
Taj.
Came to Taj, and in the Taj hotel they were sitting, and she said what discussing with her people, things they couldn't discuss there because they had to leave very hurriedly. They were sitting in the lobby and discussing, and that's the time these guys stormed into the lobby. It's the beauty of this generation that they learn to laugh at themselves.
Yeah.
So they said,
but also raise serious issues.
Raise issues. So for the first time when he came and did a demonstration for 24 hours or whatever, it was nothing very big. It was, as a matter of fact, some people started calling that he's BJP's B team, and they gave him the permission right at the airport, and things like that was being said about it. Now they've learned how to avoid getting identified like this. And as technology has come in, so you have the Velcro thing, so it's easy to remove and put it into your pocket. So all that is happening. So it's a defense mechanism taking place. And then now...
Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode for What It's Worth. Our guest today has worked more than 4 decades serving India in some of its most demanding institutions. From clearing the country's most toughest examination, to joining the IPS, to then working across the UP cadre, the BSF, the Indo-Tibetan Border Police, and finally retiring as the DG of CRPF. His career has taken him to the very front lines of India's internal security. Today, we'll be talking about fear, leadership, duty, and what it truly means to dedicate your life for a country of more than 1 billion people. This conversation is with the man behind the uniform. Please welcome Shri Dilip Trivedi ji. Hi sir, welcome to my podcast for What It's Worth. I'm so glad to have you here and have this conversation with you. I know it's going to be a fruitful one. So, I want to start by asking you that you started your career as in the IPS and you cleared the UPSC examination. How was that for you? What did it mean to you and your family when you cleared that examination?
Thanks, Radhika, for inviting me. Well, to answer your question, I really don't think, and nobody in my family was ever in the civil services, and they were mostly in the private sector. And I went to study in a place called Allahabad University, where it was generally the norm to sit for these exams. And everybody who came there thought he's the future IAS, IPS, whatever. So I got caught up in that vortex by myself. Maybe if I had not gone there to study, I would not have thought of joining the police. But staying there in that environment, I started thinking of the civil services. And then within the civil services, I picked out the police as my favorite. And I sat for it. So, and I was the youngest in the family, so everybody was okay, settled. So it was not some kind of a big euphoria in the family because things were just routine, okay, you've come, good, it's a government job, class 1 job. Not so well paying, but nevertheless, like all my other cousins and brother and all. So they said, "Theek hai, it's okay." So they were happy also, and they were, as I said, that value of that job was not in the family to realize what it is and what an achievement it is and how difficult it was to get into it, that kind of a thing. And I was staying in the hostel mostly, so nobody saw me put in that effort also. So that way it was okay. It was just a okay kind of a thing. I was thrilled for the fact that I got into the police only and no other civil service, which I really wanted. So to that extent, it was fun for me.
So you were in the UP cadre, yeah. So how was policing like over there?
Well, in
1970s, 80s.
Earlier, from 1980 onwards. Because I joined in 78 and 2 years of training in the academy, and then 80.
So how was policing like there? Like what was?
So what can I say about UP policing? Actually, UP is the bad land. UP and Bihar are the bad lands, considered from all kind of views, from protests, from crime, from political interference, from insubordination, from senior peer pressures and senior pressure. All kind of problems are there in UP and Bihar. Maybe more in Bihar. I haven't seen so much of Bihar, but UP is pretty bad. And it was equally bad in the 80s. Slightly better than what it is now, in the sense that
Now it's really improved. That's what we
no,
hear
I
about
think
it.
no, I think the 80s were much better.
Oh, is it?
And
But there was a lot of organized crime back then, like a lot of gangs, a lot of organized crime.
Organized crime was only in a place called Gorakhpur,
Okay.
where you heard the term mafia, and you had these two gangs. One was a Thakur gang and one was a Brahmin gang. The Thakur gang led by one Virendra Shahi, and the Thakur gang was led by one Harishankar Tiwari. So you had these two gangs. And why the mafia was in Gorakhpur? Because the Eastern Railway headquarters was in Gorakhpur. So railway tenders, there was a lot of money in that. So that's how the mafia came up. And even there was some mafias from Bihar involved, Suraj Bhan Singh and other people from Bihar also participating in that mafia activity in Gorakhpur. But apart from Gorakhpur, there was no other serious organized crime in UP in the 80s. People like Atiq Ahmad and all, chote mote criminals the. Because you see, you must realize one thing, what is a mafia? Mafia is a system where you need a lot of, it's an organized crime for making a lot of money. It's not crime for the sake of crime. So there was nothing of there was in UP, there were very few industries in UP. There was very few economic activities. It was mostly a largely rural background, little bit of educational this thing. There was some public sector undertakings like in Banaras, there was the diesel locomotive, or in Naini and Allahabad, there was some, ITI and telephone companies. Or if there was nothing like Noida, Greater Noida. Meerut was also largely rural. So in the 80s, there was no organized crime. You never heard of mafia except in Gorakhpur. Or anytime there was talk of mafia, it was Gorakhpur and these two gangs. And they would go around killing each other. Groups
members
like
of the gangs.
Members of the gang killing
So
each other.
how was policing like? And I asked this question because I'm in the field of research. And I'm doing research on the deterrence theory of punishment, which primarily says that to deter crime, there has to be punishment based on these three pillars called certainty, celerity and severity. Meaning certainty of the punishment, severity as compared to the crime that has been committed, and celerity meaning the punishment has to be quick. So when you say punishment is based on these three pillars, how does policing, judiciary and I would say the legislation help in ensuring that these three, form the backbone of punishment and they're actually enforced?
Actually, you should add one more thing to it. That should be to punish the right guy. The right person has to be punished. Apart from these three things, the right person has to be punished. So if you look at the policing, as I'm talking about in the 80s up to early 90, I was in UP from 80 to 91. Then I came away on deputation. So those 10-11 years, what I found, and that was my grassroots policing at SP level. So what I found there was that there was no fear of law. There was, which should be that, as you're saying, the punishment factor of law. But the criminals didn't fear law. Only thing they feared was the police, which is not a very good thing. Because a lot of time a politician or somebody would ring you up to say कि भाई हम उसको surrender करा देंगे, उसको थाने मत ले जाना. अच्छा. So scared of going to a police station. Or the criminal himself would try and bribe at the local level कि मैं arrest करके मेरे को immediately judicial remand में भेज दो. Don't detain me in the thana. So there was that fear that in the police station, some kind of a physical punishment they might
But do you think that fear was also कि police station नहीं जाना because reputation would be tainted?
नहीं, but वो तो केस जब रजिस्टर हो गया तो हो गया, रेपुटेशन की तो इशू नहीं है. एज अ मैटर ऑफ फैक्ट दे लुक फॉरवर्ड टू हैविंग मोर केसेस सो दैट देयर रेपुटेशन एज अ क्रिमिनल ग्रू व्हिच दे वांटेड, बट दे ओनली स्केयर्ड that 24 hours in the police station, it must have happened to some people that they got roughed up or something inside the police station. So that's why that fear was, predominant fear amongst the criminal was only that police station. And amongst the public also, it was कि साहब थाने ले जाके इसको सही कर दीजिए, उसके बाद तो जेल वेल वहाँ से तो छूट ही जाएगा, और जेल में तो इसकी वो खिदमत होगी, और that kind of a thing. So which is a very wrong thing, because then you're giving subjudicial powers to the police, which is not the police's job to do it.
Yeah.
So there used to be one High Court judge who retired also later as a Supreme Court judge of the Chief Justice of India. He was from Allahabad, and he used to pass a lot of strictures against police violence, against criminals. Till one day there was a theft in his house, and when I went there, he is telling me pointed out to some domestic servants. He says, SP साहब इसको थाने ले जाके सही करिए, ये सब बता देगा. So you see, even the judiciary would feel that this is a place where and the public had this thing कि इसका जो भी न्याय व्याय होना है वो थाने में ही हो जाएगा तो better है.
But फिर उसके बाद क्या? You can't keep him more than 24 hours.
Yes, but the public would be happy कि चलो इसने हमारा सामान वामान लूटा.
But what about more serious crimes? Like for example,
murder.
If you see NCRB data, which I have been looking at, the past 10 to 15 years, crimes against women, children, violent crimes have gone up. Certain crimes definitely have come down, but violent crimes have gone up. So, how do you think that that should be, so that it doesn't happen again? How do you deter that?
So, what has happened is that fear of the law was never there, and gradually with so much of media attention and public this thing, the fear of police is also vanishing. Because if you remember, there was a big gangster in Kanpur called some Dubey who had killed a deputy SP and some people a couple of years back. And when he was finally caught in Ujjain in that Mahakal temple. And immediately he called for the press and started shouting, I'm so and so, so and so, so and so from Kanpur. Because he felt that if I get enough public attention, then police will not be able to do anything to me. It's a different matter that he eventually was killed in a police encounter on the way to Kanpur. Something about the jeep getting overturned and all that. So criminals also have realized that if you have the media to highlight or arrest, once the arrest is highlighted, then
you can't do anything.
You can't do much. One, and second, the time frame in any case is 24 hours, but his physical appearance is on TV. So if he's roughed up and there's some injury to him, then he'll say this was done by the police. Or even if it's a fake injury, he can claim damages against the police. So now what has happened is that fear of law was never there. Fear of police is also going. So what has remained is, what has inevitably happened is that there's going to be
judiciary mein case hoega,
and there's going to be bigger crimes, you know. So I remember when I was a student in the university in Allahabad, and one so-called gangster within the university, gangster, not a gangster like that, he the gunda type in the university, he raped a girl in the campus. This was way back, I think 74, 75. So the general demand from the students only was to that SHO should beat him up.
Oh.
So they were saying, "Sab police station le jaake."
But public policing to abhi bhi hoti hai, like not
lynching.
Yeah, exactly.
But that can get misdirected. Similarly, in these cases also, sometimes you can find an innocent getting beaten up, and later
which happens a lot of times.
Which may happen, and then actually, what is that innocence will only you get to know when the case is done. And in cases, people lose the case just because of lack of evidence. Most of the people don't have the tenacity to stick with the. I'll give you my own case. When I was DIG Kanpur in 2000, and last year, 2024, I got a summon in a case of 2000, 24 years later.
Oh wow!
In Lucknow. So when I went to the court, I didn't know what to say because I didn't remember anything. Now, if at that time you are going to ask me, did you know this guy? Did you sign this paper? It's 24 years later. In that 24 years later, after it come away from UP, I had not even done regular policing. So a lot of things are not going to remain in your mind. So if it can happen to you. Imagine an ordinary citizen who's called after 24 years to testify. He loses interest. Maybe at the heat of the moment he says, I'll give my evidence. So he gives us evidence. And then he's told ki, Acha, next date. 20 years later, he stopped going. He says, what the hell, I'm wasting my time, effort, everything. So
what was the one, I would say, event that really stayed with you while you were in the UP cadre, that you were really affected by?
Yeah, I think I had a lot of interesting times, but I think one very interesting criminal case that I was able to solve is DIG Kanpur. Was recovering about more than 50 lakhs worth of diamonds.
Okay.
And what had happened was that there was this fellow who was the owner of a restaurant, respectable guy, and moneyed guy, and he these jewelers jinki you have connections with them, you ring them up, they send their dealer their agent who comes and shows you at home also. Yeah. So apparently he must have rung up some jewelry shop, and that chap sent his man, and he sent him with 5 diamonds, each was worth about 50 lakhs.
Oh wow, okay.
I mean, they were big. This is not a diamond, but they
Yeah.
were bigger than this. So it was this guy. He planned it in such a way. He told this guy, "Ki you leave these diamonds with me, and my wife and daughter are coming from the States next day. I'll show them to you, and you come and pick them up day after." And in between, he had arranged for the murder of this guy. So he would put it in such a way that this guy was on his way back. He got murdered, and the murderers had walked
Taken
away
the
with the
mon-
diamond. So unfortunately, when those chaps attacked him, he fell from his scooter and he fell on a वो बजरी होती ना pebbles, small pebbles. उस पे road was under construction. His scooter fell on that, and the wheel was rotating, so it made a lot of noise. So people got attracted there, and they came running to see, to help.
What happened?
And so those fellows who had come to kill him, they ran away. They had stabbed him on the back, but they ran away. And then they took him to the hospital and this and that. Now in the hospital, he tried to explain his point of view. Now this guy who had got this arranged, he at the local level, whatever, he must have managed something. So they put up a case saying that this guy is faking it. He's actually embezzled the diamonds, and it's all this is injuries of
Fake,
Farji injuries. So. And a case like this would not normally come to a DIG, it would be at the SP level or a deputy SP level. So one day late at night, I was sitting in my office and working, because the police you get very little time the day to do file work, so you do it at night. And I was staying alone in Kanpur, so I was doing my file work. And at what 11 o'clock at night, this guy came and said, "Lady, aapse milne aayi." So I said, "Okay." So I called her in. I said, "Haan, bola." She said ki. She started crying, and then finally she told me a story, and she says, "My husband ke saath aise aise." Till then the case had not come to me.
So her husband was the guy
one who had been injured.
Yeah.
He's in the hospital, and ulta uske upar ye wo kar rahe hain, aap kuch kariye. So I said, "Okay, let's go to the hospital." So I called the SSP and everybody. So on the way they were telling me, no sir, वो ये फर्जी है, झूठ बोल रहा है वो. So I went to the hospital. He was slightly sedated, but I said, "Wake him up, let us see." And we called the doctors. I said, "Remove his bandages, I want to see the injury." So the doctor said, "सब serious, थोड़ा serious है." मैंने कहा थोड़ी देर के देख के, just in a glimpse, after that you can again do it. So they opened up this thing on the back of his head. And now all the injuries were upwards, like this. When if you were to stab yourself, you will do it like this.
But how can you also stab yourself? I mean, this is a very... You need a lot of...
One is that it was an unusual place to stab yourself.
Yeah.
If you want to do a crime, you will do it here. But more importantly, none of the stab wounds were downwards.
Yeah.
They were all upwards. So it means somebody had hit him like this.
Back from the back.
No, nobody had hit him like he had not hit himself. You can't hit your own self like this. If you do that, it won't create a big injury. Two, you will not hit on your hair, because that is where the knife will not penetrate. You will try to target the lower portion of the neck. Maybe in the dark, those fellows thought they started from here and the thought will get stuck into the neck. So I told my juniors, I said, "Look, you fellows, you are making a mockery of this case. This is not a self-inflicted wound. It's a wound which has been inflicted on him
by somebody
else. So how can either those fellows who have inflicted, he's in cahoot with them. But otherwise, it's not self-inflicted, not the story that you fellows are telling me." So we started working on that. Now, in a day or two, when this guy recovered, I went to talk to him and I spoke to him. I asked him to explain everything.
But all this time, the diamonds had not been recovered?
No, nothing.
Oh, okay.
So then I spoke to these guys and this guy, and he told me, he explained the whole thing to me, and he explained in such vivid details that now this fellow who had called him to his house, he had given a story that he came to my drawing room and he showed me, and I said, "I don't like it," and he went away. When he told me, the meeting took place in the restaurant owned by this guy, and he explained everything. So I said, this guy can't be making up such a big story. So I said, now I need to speak to this owner of this thing. Now
and there were no witnesses?
There were no witnesses. So then I said, I need to speak to the owner of this place. So I told them, you call him, I'll speak to him. So this guy ran away, the owner. And every day I started getting phone calls from
sightings
from various politicians there and this and that, including my IG, my senior, who who had a lot of postings in Kanpur knew him, everybody in Kanpur knew him well, so he was easily approachable. And he's telling me, why are you harassing that poor guy? I said, sir, I'm not harassing, I just want to speak to him, I have the right to speak to him, we are not arresting him, we need to speak to him. Local ministers, everybody is after my life. I said, no, I need to speak to him. And then God works in very mysterious ways. Sometimes I feel it's all God's doing, it's not your credit, it happens because of God helping you out. And so this guy had fled, and he fled from Kanpur to Lucknow. And he was sitting in a club in Lucknow with some people drinking and abusing me in that while having his drinks in the bar. Now in that bar, a friend of mine was staying. I was also having a drink. So he rang me up from there and he said, भैया यहाँ पे कोई ऐसे आपको बहुत गाली दे रहा है, क्या हो गया, आपने किसी को कुछ किया भी है तो नहीं है? So I said, wait a minute, don't go anywhere, keep ringing me every 5 minutes till he's there, and if he goes anywhere, please follow his car. So he said, ठीक है, इसे अभी तो आया, अभी तो बैठेगा 1-2 घंटे तक. So I sent 2 of my good officers, ASPs, 2 of them to Lucknow in a jeep, in a private vehicle. I said, he is in this club, he's sitting at this place, just pick him up and bring him to Kanpur. So they reached, he was still drinking away, and so I said, let him come. When he's coming out of the club, pick him up. Don't go into the club, it will create a chaos. So they picked him up and they brought him to Kanpur. And I knew immediately if I take him to the concerned Thana, that Thana will leak everything out. So I sent him to the adjoining district, Kanpur Dehat में, rural area के एक rural थाने में, उसको मैंने कहा keep him there, I'll come at night and talk to him. So he was safely there. Now there was panic in his family and the people again ringing up, साहब ये है वो है पुलिस. मैंने कहा भाई मेरे को, I want to talk to him. If you fellows know so much about him, ask him to come and talk to me, or you bring him with you. I'll talk to him in front of you. Where is the problem? Because I knew that they can't do it now. So then I said, but this fellow will not crack so easily. So I told these fellows that we need to do a bit of drama in the Thana. So I said, ऐसा करो, 2-3 constables से कहो ऐसी जमीन पे डंडी लाठी वाठी मारें और 2-1 चिल्लाएं बड़ी कसकस कह रहे, और फिर थोड़ी देर बाद,
अच्छा ये एक्चुअली में होता है ऐसे? हाँ, you usually see it in movies and
I said फिर थोड़ी देर बाद 1-2 राउंड्स हवा में फायर कर देना कि इनकाउंटर हो गया, and let us see how he reacts to it. So they said, साहब उसकी तो बड़ी हालत ख़राब हो गई है. I said, okay. Then I told one of these officers, I said that look, you tell him कि देखो 50 लाख के एक हीरे हैं, सब पैसे तुम अपने आप खा जाओगे, कैसे काम बनेगा? कुछ let us share something, नहीं तो DIG साहब तो हमारी नौकरी खा जाएंगे. So they struck a deal. The minute the deal was struck, I knew कि now. So I said, now how to? I said, now bring him to Kanpur, but don't take him home. I took another officer. I said, उसके घर पे जो ये officer था जिसने negotiate किया था, I said उसको अपने घर ले जाना, और घर ले जाके, then he said, okay. I said, don't take him to the Thana, take him to your house. Now he took him to his house. Now I was worried कि कहीं उसको overpower ना कर दे, यहाँ से भाग ना जाए. तो मैंने 2-3 younger officers को भेजा. मैंने कहा half pant पहन के, you pretend to be his younger brother and just sit around just as a protection for this guy. So that he's, so he came, and then first thing I asked, let me have a bath. He was sweating badly. Gave him a bath, and I said, give him a drink also. So they gave him a drink. He was very happy. Then they said, अब बताओ कैसे होगा? So he said कि he rang up his wife, and he arranged for her to bring the diamonds at some RV point which we had fixed. And then I sent some people at that RV point to follow this lady from her home to the RV point, because it was about 2 o'clock at night. I said maybe she gets waylaid and again the diamonds are out of her hands. So finally we caught her with the diamonds, got the diamonds back, and got all the diamonds. And you know where he had hidden? Even if he had searched his home, we could not have found it. Switchboard होता है ना, उसके अंदर रखे हुए थे उसने. So the whole case was cracked open and the diamonds were available. Very interesting, and without lifting a finger on anybody. Although there was this usual police, as I said, attitude. I used to go for a walk in Green Park. It was very close to the DIG's house in the morning, and in plain clothes, so nobody would recognize me. But what was very interesting was I used to hear the comments of people, "अरे DIG साहब ने उसको उल्टा लटका दिया, DIG साहब ने ये कर दिया, DIG साहब ने वो कर दिया."
तो उसको तो फिर जेल हुई होगी?
हाँ, he's still in jail.
And the wife
I mean,
also?
still I don't know, but that time.
Wife also?
Wife as accomplice, yes. And more interestingly, the diamonds were recovered and given back to the rightful owners. Then all those association people came and they said, "We want to honor you." I said, "Please don't do this, because you see, you are going to attract too much of attention."
Yeah.
So it has been done as a
But there are so many times that a person gets incriminated for the wrong crime just because of their social standing. They're not so privileged enough to having other people call on their behalf or ministers call on their behalf. So that's good to know that the rightful person was caught in this instance.
And the recovery was so important. If you just
and the recovery was done.
You just catch him and send him, it makes no sense. Now, interestingly, that very fellow who was a minister used to ring me every day. When later I was IG BSF in Jammu, one day he sent a message through some people in Kanpur, known to both of us. By then he was no longer a minister, that he is coming to go to Vaishno Devi Shrine. So I said, "Can you help him?" I said, "No problem," because it was a standard procedure. Every day somebody is coming, so we had our people there and they would help in the darshan and help in arranging ponies, everything. So he came there and then he rang me up, "Sir, मैं आ रहा हूँ, तो मैं I said, कहाँ रुकूँ, कोई जगह?" मैंने कहा, "नहीं, हमारे मेस में रुक जाओ, क्या प्रॉब्लम है, there's a lot of rooms." So let him stay there, sent him to the place, came back. When he came back, he came to my office to meet me. So he brought up this case again. And he said कि सर, उस समय मैंने आपको बहुत फ़ोन किया, आपने बात नहीं मारी मेरी, लेकिन आपको देख के मैं उस समय आप इतने कॉन्फिडेंस से कहते थे कि मिल जाएंगे डायमंड्स ऐसे, और तब मैं मंत्री था, आपने सुनी नहीं, आज मैं कुछ भी नहीं हूँ, आप मेरे लिए इतना सब कुछ कर रहे हो, ऐसे वो गलत।
But I want to talk to you about, you said you were posted in Jammu
Kashmir.
And then you were also India-Tibet
ITBP,
border police. Yeah.
Indian-Tibetan border police.
So China का बहुत infiltration सुनने में आ रहा है.
अब आ रहा है.
So was there a difference between, and you worked with both the UP and the NDA governments, so do you think that this China infiltration, is this government looking at it in a different way? How does security under this government look like? Is it better than what it used to be before? And what are some of the very extreme postings that you've had? Like, we hear about Siachen and these places like that. So have you ever been?
No, I've not been to Siachen, but I've been a lot of high altitude areas in Ladakh, more on a visit than anything else. I'll tell you some interesting areas in there. It is so cold that at night, if you take a jug full of water and throw it in the air, it freezes before it touches the ground.
Which is this place?
This is called the Dalta Bay, Oldie Bay. Okay. It's a post right on the border of with China in Ladakh. There are many posts like this up there, where it is extremely cold.
And you were posted there?
No, I was posted in ITBP.
Okay.
But obviously, as additional DG, you only visit your troops there.
Of course.
So while visiting them, you spend a night with them. Sometimes just have a cup of tea, or sometimes during the day you visit them. So you have all these. So I've been to these places. It's extremely tough. And in ITBP was very tough, because for almost there were about 10 or 12 posts where you had to walk 8 to 10 days before you reached
that place.
There were no roads, and when you come from outside, fresh questions are in your mind compared to people who have been there. So my first question to the people was that, why have we not built roads? So they said this was 2010. And 47 and 2010 was a long time.
अब तो roads बहुत है.
अब तो हाँ, but I'm telling you, so they said कि साहब वो आर्मी नहीं बनाने देती. तो I said क्यों? ऐसे वो कहते हैं अगर Chinese आएंगे तो they'll use the roads to come into India.
Makes sense.
But that was from 2010 was the first time we have made a presentation to the then Union Home Minister. Ki, look, we have these problems. So that's when the roads making process began in a very big way, and not 16 years later there are a lot of roads. But it's tough life, very tough life for these guys. And coming to your question about security concerns, if you see after the 62 war, no bullets have been fired on the Chinese border. Pakistan border is routine firing. When I was in Jammu,
but China also, not attack I would say, but they have infiltrated some of our land there.
I'm coming to that. Now you have to understand there's a difference between China and Pakistan. When I was in Jammu, there were about 10,000 rounds of firing every night. Now from here, China side, since 62, after the 62 war, there will be no firing whatsoever. But the problem remains that we have a lot of disputed territories with China. We don't have so much of disputed territories with Pakistan, because the Radcliffe line is a very clear line. We don't have so much a problem with Bangladesh. Bangladesh, we had a problem of enclaves which has been resolved. That is also a very interesting story. But what is with China, some General McMahon made a line somewhere in the 1914s or something, 1914 or something. And China that time was a nascent country. It was not even an independent country. So they were never consulted. They were never negotiated with. This general just drew a line, and he drew it on a very simple principle of watershed principle. If it's a mountain and it rains and the water comes towards India, it's Indian territory. If it goes towards China, it's Chinese territory. So that's how the McMahon line was made. But after China attained independence, got military strength. Now in mountain warfare, what is more important is the hilltops, obtaining positions on the ridges and other places. Because if a person attacking you has a problem moving up. Second, if you have to attack, you have an advantage going down. So there were a lot of these areas. I think there were 36 areas at that point of time where there was line of where they called it. Areas of contention where China would also claim and India would also claim, and of course all of Arunachal, which they said was not part of India, it's part of China. So all these disputes, boundary disputes were there, but it was never leading to any firing. Active. There was no firing, nothing. Once in 6 months, we would go across for a meeting. Once in 6 months, they would come across for a meeting, and our patrols would go and their patrols would come. And the interesting thing was that if our patrol went into an area which was Chinese, they would put up a red banner, which in Chinese it was written, "This is Chinese territory, go back." But without being able to read it, we could understand what it is. And similarly, if they came here, we would put up a red banner, "This is Indian territory." They couldn't read English, so they would. But
so very peaceful.
It was okay. It was not a this thing, and these disputes and these meetings and all were going on, and there was language problem and there was this thing. But except for that portion of exchange which Pakistan gave away, otherwise there was not much of contention. And if you go to that area, you find it's a high altitude desert. उसकी कोई ऐसी वैल्यू भी नहीं.
Exactly. मैं अभी few years back had gone to Ladakh, and वहाँ पे we were, I don't remember the place, but कोई बहुत high altitude का hilltop था. And there they were actually just telling us कि जब ये चाइना का infiltration आया, so वहाँ के local लोग सारे, some were taxi drivers, some whatever jobs they had, they left everything and they joined the army in pushing them back. I don't know how true that is.
No, it will be true. I'll tell you why. Similarly in Arunachal also. What has happened from, we got independence in 40, they got in 50. But now ethnically they may look like Chinese, but culturally, language-wise, food-wise, they've integrated more with India.
Is it?
Yes. They don't speak Chinese. They speak English, they speak Hindi, they eat Indian cuisine, they get all the supplies from India. So the entire area, which is northeastern frontier area, so they are. I think one of the main reasons why China keeps saying Arunachal is ours but does nothing about it, because it will be like an occupation. They are not going to get public support. The public support is with India, has to be with India, because as I said, 76 years they've integrated with India in all forms of, be it tourism, be it food habits, be it attire, be it education, be it domestic tourism, they're coming into India and we going there, those kind of things. So this, it will be extremely difficult for China.
But how is security wise, how is this government handling?
How
is the security changed over?
I told you in the beginning that the issue is basically the peaks.
The peaks, yeah.
So this Pangong Lake and other places, it's a beautiful lake.
Half of it is theirs, I think. 80% of it is.
1/3 is ours, 2/3 is theirs. And so it's a beautiful lake, and it was in Three Idiots films.
I've seen it. I've gone. Yeah.
Yeah, you've been there.
Yeah.
So when you now there are, they call it the fingers. There are these 5 things jutting out like that, finger points. Now, occupation of this is very important if you have to move in. Now, what the Chinese have done is in their part of the lake, they've got fantastic, boats, big
tourism,
boats.
yeah.
Not tourism, military boats.
Okay.
Military boats with a lot of equipment and all.
Okay.
We don't have anything on our side. But they China.
Okay.
They just want to be at very vantage points.
Vantage points, right.
And they don't want to give any vantage point to India. So that is the
So what is India doing to push back?
India भी करती है कभी-कभी. हम जब this thing issue came up जिसमें that famous thing कि जो उचित समझो करो dialogue. India had also taken up the heights on the southern side of Pangong Sole, and now we are waking up and we are sending in more.
But you're saying there's no real threat from China?
In the sense that if China wants to attack you, they can do it. Their military strength is much more than us. If they were interested, they don't want to do it.
So diplomatic relations with China is at our advantage right now.
Not so much diplomatic as the fact that we have a huge market for them. A lot of Chinese goods are coming in, and if you open any newspaper, you find so many advertisements of Chinese. This thing, come and visit China, tourism, this, that, and all. So it is not diplomacy so much as economic this thing. And if China was to attack India, what the territory which they will gain is not a very fruitful kind of a territory. It's not.
So that's what those guys said there. They said it's barren land. It's impossible for anybody to survive here. There's no, you can't grow anything here. So it's actually quite useless to even fight over it.
As I said, high altitude desert.
Yeah.
So, but they just want to, in case there is ever a fight, they want to be in a good position of that. So, if they want to invade India, they can do it very, very easily. But now we are waking up, we are making tunnels. Zojila tunnel has just been commissioned, which are all weather link between Kashmir and Leh. So similarly, things like this are going on, roads are being built. We are also buying better boats for our side of the Pangong lake. Our equipment is improvement. We have
so
established.
It's improved, you are saying.
We have established a new corps. 14 corps has been established in Leh. Otherwise, it was under the 15 corps Srinagar only. So new corps headquarter has come up. So all that is happening. It's not that India is just sitting back on it. India is working on it. But I don't think either of the two countries would be foolish enough to go for war over there at this point of time to time. If there's some other thing, some other issues come up like rare earth.
I told you I was in Ladakh, and when you talk to those local guys there, and they've been to the border area where it's like the other side is China and the other side is India. So they tell you that it is so advanced over there, their equipments and just their day-to-day habits, they are so advanced than what we have back here. In the middle of the night also, their lighting system is so powerful that they say it looks like it's morning that side.
Oh, they put the railroad right up to the highest point in Tibet. They have brought in railroads. They have brought in. There's no doubt. They are much advanced. They have much better living conditions. They have much better. And now what they're trying to do is they're trying to push in more population, repopulate areas from there into this area.
Yeah.
So they are working on it very systematically. There's no doubt about it. And there will come a point of time. I mean, it's already there. That as I said, we are not a match. We cannot take them on. It's just that they need us for as economic reasons. They need us. And that is the reason that things are going on. And what will they gain by upsetting the apple cart? Then you suddenly have this jingoism in the country. Avoid Chinese goods. All these things will begin.
Yeah.
So fine, it's fine. Now they are okay with our this thing. What do you call it? Our Hindi filmy songs and also everything. But now they're not going to give you a free rein. So what do? They keep helping Pakistan.
Of course.
So they say that our proxy war is being fought by Pakistan, and हम तो आराम से बैठे हुए हैं यहाँ पे, and we are okay. We are at a good.
So you talk about Pakistan. I want to ask you, 26/11 के time पे भी you were internal security में.
26/11 as in
Taj mein jo terrorist attack that happened in Taj. So how did they infiltrate? What went wrong with our intelligence?
There's a very interesting story. My wife was stuck in that very hotel that day.
Is it?
Yeah, and you know.
And she was able to get out.
No, 3 days later.
She was there for 3 days?
She was there for 3 days, in the sense that there was some conference they were doing, and the conference hall was in Trident, where the first attack took place. So when that attack took place, initially the Mumbai police did not realize it's a terrorist attack. They thought it's a gang war. So her people came and told her ki she's a government servant also. So they came and told her ki madam यहाँ से पुलिस वाले कह रहे हैं चलना चाहिए, थोड़ी problem है. So they left that place and they were staying in Taj.
And they went back
and
to
they
Taj.
came to Taj, and in the Taj hotel they were sitting, and she said discussing with her people things which they couldn't discuss there because they had to leave very hurriedly. They were sitting in the lobby and discussing, and that's the time these guys stormed into the lobby. So these people all rushed, and whichever room they found open, they got into it. There was this one room, she says, in which there was something like 20-30 guys into one room.
And she was rushed to that room.
They all rushed like that.
So then she stayed there for 3 days?
2 days almost, 1 night and 2 days. The third, then they finally, because while the operation was on, there was no way to get help out. Although my son kept telling me, you speak to DG NSG. I said, look, it will attract unnecessary attention.
But even if you would have spoken to them?
Even if I had spoken to them, I had no idea which room. I had no idea which floor.
The phones?
Her battery had discharged because there was...
and they cut the electricity?
No, electricity was there, but there was no, charger. Everybody was sitting and talking, and suddenly they ran into a room. So there was no way to charge your phones. So that was a side, more of an
but
aside.
But this is a more interesting story because I have not spoken to anybody.
My son, and I was actually watching, there was an India-Pakistan match. And my son is telling me ki, Dad, have you watched the TV? I said, India jeet gaya. So he says ki nahi, what terrorist attack ho gaya and mama is stuck there. I said, my God. So and her first reaction was to ring him up and talk. So all that was so. But anyways, so by the time I looked up the TV and I realized kya ho gaya and all that, but then what could you do? I mean, there was no way. I didn't know which floor she is. I didn't know which room she is.
So you were not able to get in touch with her
after, and then a phone battery died down because late
Those
night.
would have been tough 3 days for you.
Only thing is that she would send SMSs through.
Okay, to people that
through other people whose phones were working, because nobody was talking on the phone because sabki battery low thi. So then finally when she came home, she just kept sleeping straight for 24 hours because she was so tired and stressed out ki she just went to sleep. But coming back to your question of how did this people come from across. Now you see the territorial waters are there, but they are not defined by any boundary. You can come across.
International border,
So they came across through the waterways from this thing, which is not a big deal. There are rumors that even people come from Dubai across on water from. There used to be.
So we have no policing there.
No, we have the Coast Guard. We have in the international waters we have the Navy. We have the Coast Guard.
But how much area can they cover?
Exactly, because sea is a big thing, how much area they can cover, but it is pinpointed intelligence which actually helps. If you have a specific input that they are coming in tonight or they are coming in day after and they are going to come in roughly through this 200-400 nautical miles, then you can plan accordingly, you can do it. But at random it's very difficult. I mean, it's so difficult. But and possibly nobody ever imagined at that point of time that a place like Mumbai will be attacked so openly by these guys.
So there was no intel on this.
There was what I am told. I mean, I can't say how far it is true or correct, because this is what I've heard through the grapevine, that there was some intel, but maybe it was not reacted upon as well as it could have been. Similarly, when the NSG was asked to move from Delhi, it took much more than the required time it should have taken to move there. So all the faults were there, lessons learnt. new hubs of NSG were made.
So do you think that it's gotten better now?
Definitely. You had first there
What
was
changes were
NSG was only in Delhi based. Now you have a hub in Bangalore, you have a hub in Calcutta, you have a hub in Mumbai. So you have different hubs at different places, so easier to reach, faster methodologies. They have been giving more equipment, their own helicopters and all to move. A whole lot of.
But intel, what intelligence mein what difference?
So then there was a coordinated grid. It's called the NAD grid and other thing. I wouldn't want to go into it very specifically. But there are intelligence grids were made in such a way that all intelligence agencies came on board at one place, especially on the borders with Pakistan. And any input coming from whether it was the Coast Guard, Navy, IB, local police, everything, and there was a unified command set up all along Ahmedabad and all along Gujarat and Mumbai coast, that with people manning it 24 hours a day, that any intelligence input should be viewed seriously, immediately. There should not be any delay. So a lot of things are going. There are a lot of mechanisms, but it won't be right to go public with them because people from across the border will also be listening to podcasts. So, but things have definitely improved, and the intelligence grid has been strengthened quite a lot. And then we have the air reconnaissance systems also now, which are been put into place. So I would say that there's been a dramatic overhaul in the whole system of collection of intelligence.
So on a lighter note, which is the most interesting place that you have been to that is not probably open to the public, but and you've found it to be something that the public should know about or should go to or should be able to visit that place in India?
You see, I would rate there are certain areas in the upper reaches of Jammu, Rajouri, Poonch and all, which are not open to the public. Beautiful places. Then there is the valley ahead of in Doda district, Kishtwar. I mean, these are we rave about Kashmir, but you visit these places and
they're not open.
Nobody goes there out of fear. But these are areas which can be opened up massively for tourism. Beautiful valleys, saffron growing for kilometers and kilometers, and the valley is much wider than it is the Kashmir, much wider than the Kashmir Valley. So these areas in the hills, of Jammu Kashmir, and in Rajouri, Poonch, you have art forms, you have so much of history. The Mughals used to move all the way up on the caravan. There is a place called Changezi where the remains of Jahangir were taken and put when he died there, and they didn't want them to know that he's dead. Because if you remember that time, the capital was not Delhi, it was Lahore. So from Lahore they used to move by it's called the old Mughal route. And from there they would enter the valley through the Pir Panjal Pass.
The route is still open, or is
now most of it has gone into Pakistan. So, but there is a part of it in India through Rajouri, Poonch also, where it converges. And then this Haji Pir Pass, which is the pass through which you could enter the valley. This today's pass, the Banihal tunnel was not there. So you see, if you see the valley, there is a Zababan range like this, and there is the Pir Panjal range like this, and Haji Pir is here giving you a pass into it. If you otherwise have to go over the pass, over the mountains, which is very high mountains, so they used to come on horses and elephants and all these people, the Mughals. So they would only come like that through that pass and enter and then reach Kashmir. Because once you cross the Haji Pir Pass, you come from Lahore and you come into Haji Pir Pass. It's a flat travel. There's no, you don't have to this thing. So all this is very fascinating, and going to Kashmir itself is so fascinating. Kashmir, Baramulla and all that is so fascinating.
But what do you think that it's, a lot of people are not going there because of the recent attacks also, and I don't know, tourism always seems to be affected.
It's picked up again.
Affected there.
It's picked up again. Pahalgam attack was created a bit of a void. But now, as of now, I am told that again it's pretty tough to get a booking in a good hotel.
Is it?
And some beautiful hotels have come up there, which were never there earlier. There was only one, that Lalit, and there was, I think that was it. And otherwise there was these small tourist hotels along the lake, Dal Lake. But otherwise there was no major activity of big time hotels. Now you have the Taj, you name it, and you have. One of the most beautiful hotels is that Khyber.
So I've been there.
Khyber, so you see all that. You see you have the that gondola up to Sonmarg. First you had to walk it. So all these, they're beautiful areas, and they're beautiful in winters when the snow is falling, and they're beautiful in summers. Pahalgam itself is so beautiful. And then ahead of is that Betab Valley and those other areas where the films, they still kept things going. So I think if you take any one state as the which is the most beautiful and the must visit area
Kashmir.
is Kashmir. There is no, you can't beat any other. No state can beat that. Every state has
its own thing. Its own
somebody
charm.
has a coastline. Somebody Goa has a coastline. Mumbai has a lot of economic activities, or Tamil Nadu also has a great coastline, and Puri has the Jagannath temple. You name it, every this thing. Kolkata also has its own charm. But if you take as a package, nothing can do more for
Kashmir,
for tourism and for your eyes as Kashmir does. It's really beautiful, and I wish we could pay more attention to developing all these areas.
So, what is your take on the protests that happened in Jantar Mantar? Like, so, I mean, personally, what I feel is that the NEET paper that was leaked, paper leaks have happened before also. So, what is your take on what happened this time, and what was so different that it was such a big movement, and what does the future look like from here?
So, I think one thing which really helped this movement was the word cockroach.
Yeah.
I don't know in what context the Chief Justice of India used it, but it stuck on in the public imagination in such a big way, because there's somehow the Gen Z, as they call it, felt that we are really being treated like cockroaches. That it was a very apt word. So it just caught on to the imagination of these people in a very big way. Then the other issue was once you had this movement going on the Instagram and people, followers coming, and Abhijit Dipke coming, and although if you see his first few days was
I mean, that page was also created as a kind of a, I wouldn't say a spoof, but as a satire maybe, that it's like because he said
totally
something.
As a satire, totally as a satire. But that's the beauty of this generation, that they learn to laugh at themselves. So they said,
but also raise serious issues.
So for the first time when he came and did a demonstration for 24 hours or whatever, it was nothing very big. It was, as a matter of fact, some people started calling that he's BJP's B team, and they gave him the permission right at the airport. I know things like that was being said about it.
But we saw a lot of videos about policing there, and we saw that there were so many police personnel without name tags, trying to create commotion, trying to create a stampede kind of a situation and unrest in that movement. Did that really happen, and was that the right thing to do? Usually, do things happen like that when such a big protest happening?
No, it's definitely not the right thing to do. You see, there's a lot of talk that who gave the order to firing, and did the Home Minister give the order? Let me tell you, no Home Minister will ever give an order, and even if it gives an order, it is not it doesn't have any legality. Order has to be given by the officer on the spot. So now what has happened is that, but what happens is that an atmosphere is created by politicians. So one day before, this is on Monday, the agitation is to take place. On Sunday, you chase the Commissioner of Police. So what
you
message?
Chase the Commissioner of Police. Okay.
They changed that Golcha
They changed him.
Yeah. So what is the message that is going down in the force? It goes on, look, if you are ineffective, you had it. So that is one message that goes. We need effect.
So to show that he was effective in managing this.
No. This is the message goes on to the force. What messages go to the new commissioner? I have to prove a point.
Take action.
I have to prove a point.
True.
I have been brought in. Now, ab mere ko sahi karna hai inko. That. So what does he do in his briefing? When he's briefing his DCPs and all, he'll probably be telling them, look, heads will roll, and this if you don't this must have said things like that, which charges up people. So when they are in that charged atmosphere and that thing percolates down, police is an organized entity. It is not somebody like you're walking on the street, pass a comment to one chap and it ends with that one chap.
Like that,
It goes down to the right to the constable. So the thing that has gone down must have been that, look, government means business. We have to do it. We don't have to do this, even whatever.
But why without name tags? Why?
So I'm coming to that.
Yeah.
So even if it is a question of whatever happens, this has to be prevented, and otherwise consequences will be serious. So now the defense mechanism starts in the minds of these people. कि हम लाठी चलाएंगे, हम ये करेंगे, तो हमारा सबसे पहले नेम टैग हटाओ. You see, it's part of a result of a system which is sending messages. So वो भी तो अपने आप को self protect करेगा ना. Over the years, he has seen in the media that anybody whose name tag comes up and who's this thing who gets identified, he's getting into problems. So what do they do? Wear a helmet, so face नहीं identify होगा, or wear a mask के face नहीं identify होगा, and remove your helmet. अब now it's a band of khaki. उसमें कौन किसने किया हमको क्या पता. So anonymous, and you see, way back when we came to the police, the constables were not wearing name tags.
Oh, okay.
Then it became mandatory to start wearing it because of this reason.
Identification
that identification होना चाहिए. Now they've learned how to avoid getting identified like this. And as technology has come in, so you have the Velcro thing, so it's easy to remove and put it into your pocket. So all that is happening. So it's a defense mechanism taking place. And then now, you see, there's no question of opening firing on students. It's not done. It's in the police. It should never be done, unless firing is done on criminals and
and terrorism.
mobs which are lynching you or something like that. Otherwise, how can you just or it's a communal riot or something like that where people are almost stabbing each other to death. यहाँ कोई एक दूसरे को मार तो नहीं ना, जान से तो नहीं मार रहा है, नारे लगा रहे हैं. मान लो even if.
But some people say that they were marching towards the parliament and that was a threat. Parliament was in session.
So what? If it is there's a gate to the parliament, you put a very strong force in front of it. कितने पुलिस वालों को धक्का देके निकल जाओगे आप? You see, there are better ways of managing.
Yeah, of course.
Everything is a better way. There is Operation Blue Star where you went into the Blue Temple and you created chaos and led to this thing. And much later there was Operation Black Thunder where everything was done without a single shot being fired and everybody surrendered. So there are better ways of doing it. So there could have been a better way to it. But more importantly, I think the communication which went down was that, look, the government is with you and do what the hell you want to do and we'll sort it out. Not realizing that it's going to...
What do you think that this movement has... Do you see any change in the coming...
Definitely a resignation of a minister is nothing great, And the new law also by itself, I don't think it's very great because it is just presuming that crime will keep taking place. We are making stricter laws, and for years we've had a death penalty for murder, but it has not stopped murder from happening anyway. So all this is more of an eyewash, more of this thing to.
But do you think this movement can change the course of political history in India?
You see, any movement, all kind of movements, they begin, they stabilize, they again pick up, they stabilize, there's a plateau. So the whole system works like that. So definitely that now there is a fear.
If you don't perform.
If you don't perform.
This can happen.
Now, so till now there was no fear. There was fear that we are invincible. Now that fear is there, कि election आ रहा है, 35% of the population is hostile to us. The voting population. So where do we go? So it's rethink is definitely on the card. So
but do you really think that rethinking is going to happen, especially when, like rightfully you said, they think they're invincible, and with the vote chori and EVs being bought and
that will continue. That the political strategy will continue. But I think the reform agendas and the issues that are affecting the youth.
You think that will change?
I think towards that the government will definitely get more sensitive before things again start blowing up and try to do. I mean, I hope so. Otherwise, if they don't do it, then they're going to be in worse trouble because these are children who have been cornered. they are not getting jobs, they are not getting the cost of living is going up. Obviously,
you see a frustration.
A lot of frustration, and obviously they're getting money from their parents who are feeling the pinch, economic pinch, and then they're not getting jobs, they're not getting all of us at that age have a upwardly mobile. You want to be upwardly mobile, you don't want to be stagnant, you don't want to go below a certain level. So all those things are there, and there has been a lot of talk about people. I'm not that I'm very well educated on that issue, but what one keeps hearing is how the entire education has been infiltrated by party cadres in the in forms of vice chancellors and teachers and all, and the real education is taking a setback. And whatever education is being given, it has no correlation to what you're going to achieve in your life. So I think all those things are issues which need to be seen more importantly than just enacting a law. And if there is some attention towards that, and these children are, once they start feeling a relief in their pressure world that they're living in, I think they'll come back to the mainstream. It should not be it'll not be a big issue. But right now, frankly, I'm glad it happened.
Yeah.
Because I feel that it was time, that somebody.
I also feel that a little jolt was needed.
It was
shake.
Not only to shake and to do course correction, because for the when I say course correction, I mean course correction for the country as such. We need to understand these are the future of the country.
What would you like to say to the youth?
Well, all I can say is that well done. Don't get violent, but well done. And whatever you have to do, try and achieve it through peaceful methods. Put your point. Don't be afraid to put your point forward. And after all, you are the youth. Bhagat Singh was martyred at the age of 23. So you have to have that. That's the age that does everything possible. Very few people at my age are going to out on the street at 70, 80 to do things. So that way is good.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much for this fruitful conversation. It was a blast talking to you, and I learned so much. It was not just your experience, but your wisdom also that you shared with us today.
Thank you.
So thank you for being with us, and thank you for speaking.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.